Well, this house is called Luma, and there's a really good story about this project also because it's a house that is on the city of Buenos Aires, like 20 kilometers from the center. It's in the suburbs, but it's not really dense, but it's already on the suburbs. And there here in Buenos Aires, there's a part of the city, mainly all the city. We built here. All the plots are in between walls. You have like 10 meters from each plot to another plot, and everyone builds in between walls. And this plot was empty, and actually the client came here. It was a young woman with her husband, and actually she came and told me, I have a plot to build a house, but there's a problem on it. There's a really big tree in the middle of the plot, so we are going to need to to take it. She told me, I already talked with my aunt and with a friend that are architects. Both told me that it's in the middle of the plot, so we are going to we will need to move the tree. And she told me it's a pity because it's a really good, a nice tree. So I went to see the plot, and I found this old oak in the middle of the plot, and it was really nice. It was amazing in the middle of the suburbs where there's not so many vegetation, and on the suburbs of Buenos Aires, we have this really big, like 100 old, 100 old oak. It was really nice. So we start making the process of the project here in our office. We work like an editorial. When we have a project, we try to open as much possibilities we can open in our mind. So maybe we have, for example, this project, and we open like 20 or 30 proposals in a really schematic way. So we can do it in the house like this, like this, like. And in mostly every proposal that we develop here at the office, in almost every proposal, we were keeping the tree in the middle because actually it wasn't the middle. It was really amazing. We thought it was really valuable to have this tree in the middle, and the condition of the plot was really interesting because we had the north through the front of the house to the street, and here at the suburbs of Buenos Aires, because of security or whatever, we tend to close all with the facade that face the street, and we open through our garden on the back. And when we do that, when you are facing north, you need to have some patio in the middle to get some sunlight and ventilation, because if not, it's going to be all really, really dark. So it was really natural to make like a patio in the middle of the house to have this sunlight on the middle. And the tree was exactly on the middle. So we knew we were going to keep the tree. So we made, on the plan, we made this circular patio, and we start working on it. And suddenly we start talking here at the office about how should the link with this tree should be. Because when we made this patio, we were always facing this tree we were like having this relation with the trunk of the tree. And actually the idea of a tree is going like raising up and looking high, and you have all these different situations, like layers. You have the foundation of the tree with the roots, you have the trunk, then you have the branches and all the leaves. That even this oak changed the color. It puts really orange, yellow, green, and you have all these situations in the different parts of the year and in different layers going up. So when we started working on this circular patio, we knew that there was a problem, and we knew that we needed to go high, like getting this connection with the tree, but raising up. So suddenly, when we make the design, we face all this, the part that face the street, we pull it down, and the part that face the garden back, we pull it up. So we make this connection like a ramp that goes like a spiral all around the tree. And actually, when you go through the house, you have like the living room that expands through this patio, and you start going all up, all around the tree, up to a rooftop that is really spectacular. It's really nice. There you see the street, and you start going up with this circular patio. And when we work with this patio, also talking about the motions and the connection with the buildings, we knew that we need to make like a trail, a path, like in the middle of the nature to go up. So even you are in between walls on a plot in the suburbs, in between walls, this idea of being on the middle of the forest or in the middle of a mountain was really, really important for us. Well, here you see from the inside, you also go through this oak. Everything in this house is about the tree. This is the situation when you enter the house. You always circulate inside the house around the tree, and on the outside you go through the tree. This idea of having the roof is not a roof, it's a part of the landscape, like a mountain with this trail that goes up. So we always try to take away all the domestic parts of the buildings, you know. If we are making a stair, try to not to make a stair like everyone should do it. Try to understand, well, we need to go up. How does this situation it's in on another situation, you know, on the middle of the forest? How do you go up? You have some pieces of wood and some steps, like really rustic and with, yeah, with the nature itself. So we are always trying to get away all the domestic parts of the constructions to start having this sensation and these emotions that are easy if we are connecting with nature than with cement. One facing up, this is an amazing tree for sure. And as I was talking with the other house, actually the form of the house, the shape, it's I don't know, it's really strange, you know, but it came from the information, you know. It's not about the form. Sometimes I hear the discussions about the form and function and the form and the form. They are stuck talking about the form, like if we need to see how the form is or what. And I think the discussion is about the information. What is happening with that? How we are reaching the form? And here it sounds really easy. That it's the information is that you have an oak, really nice and amazing, in the middle of the city that is really valuable, and you need to connect somehow with this tree. And connecting on the ground is not enough. You need to connect in every level and get this idea on your body and your soul that the tree goes up and rise up, and you need to experience that. Well, here you're at the living room, and you see this expansion of the living room going up.
Where does the stair leads to the second floor, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you have, actually here at the right is the entrance. You have this pathway that leads you to the living room, the dining room, and you have the stair that goes up with 3 bedrooms that face to the garden.
Before we go further,
this is the front. Yeah.
Okay. I have one question. Since you mentioned we look at information, not forms. As a designer, when we start a new project, like instantly we are like bombed with a lot of information. Like you have this connection with human, you have this connection with city, nature, all of that. How do you like make it intersection between these things? Like how do you decide what is the priority here and how we can go to the path of like looking at the like best result for the project?
Well, that's a really interesting question, and I wish I had the answer, the perfect answer. I think there's a lot of sensibility with, first of all, the client that is the one who's paying all these things we make. And when, for example, in this case, I truly understood that the client, she wanted to keep the tree, even though people told her that she need to remove the tree. I thought when we were talking about the situation of the plot with the tree on the middle, I thought and I get the feeling that it was, if we could keep the tree, it was going to be a goal, you know. So trying to get this different percentage of importance about all the information, I think it's a really sensitive. We as an as architects, we need to have this sensibility. And in other hand, there are a lot of things that maybe are we cannot not do it. You know, for example, all these houses have natural ventilation, illumination. We, even though we need to keep the tree, we need to make a house that is sustainable, that you can leave the house without turning on a light because it's dark. You know, the sun, actually, the north is here where I'm pointing, and here the north is where the sun goes. And that is really important also. So when we start designing here, for example, we are making a building and we have this wall where we put a lot of different possibilities, you know, and in all those possibilities, we try to, we're really ambitious, so we try to go through all, and of course there's different levels of importance,
But I think at the end it's all
everything,
comes naturally to the designer. So
yeah,
like when you
yeah,
are on the
yeah,
place, like you know what feels right to do there.
yeah, yeah. But it's not that easy as
For sure, yeah.
as I'm talking about. You know, in the middle of the process, it's all really messy, and you think, oh, we're not gonna make it. We are making something that is awful, and it's not fulfilling this thing or that thing. I think it's
Especially
a
when
really
you
long
have these
process.
organic forms, like you mentioned at the end, you can describe the
Yeah,
shape of the house. Like I can imagine you have some
yeah.
stages like this is the best answer. Are we doing it right or not?
Well, actually, there's another thing that I hear at the office. I try to be really like a must here at the office. That is to keep it simple somehow. You know, for example, in this house, the idea is to live the experience of this tree. Any other information, we can keep it out. You know, everything must be about this information of the tree and about this relation with the tree. So I don't matter if it doesn't matter to me anything else. You know, so we try to erase all different type of information to really get the idea of getting in connection with this tree. Um,
Yeah, I
That's
think it's
true. Some
also
information
efficient.
are
Yeah.
distraction here. Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also easier and more efficient that way if you have like a sole idea and you build all your ideas around that. That way you don't have to pick all those um, ideas that you have and insert it in the project.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the same. Yeah. And somehow here it seems to like really easy to find the idea. You have the tree. Well, it's like obvious that the project, but somehow it's a process to get into the idea of, yeah, we need to keep the tree, and it's a possibility. It's a true possibility where we can develop a house with the needs of the client and with the tree. It's a process, and I think, like you said, once you find your main idea, you need to go all the way through that and be really precise, and you don't need to move any meter from this idea and go all the way. Yeah, it's a really good reflection. Here, for example, it's from the front of the house. I told you that we used to make really closed facades to the street. Here you can see it. Actually, it's funny because talking about shapes and forms of houses, this is really strange. You know, you have like a house all closed with a facade that's, you see that it's a little bit curvy on the here down here, and you see like a really big tree, like growing through the roof of the house. It's when you go through with your car there, it's funny because you see a tree like rising from the ceiling of the roof of the house. And also you can see the relation here with the human. You know, also in this connection, I talk a lot. And it's new because it's an experimentation. You know, living in the branches of the tree is really amazing. You know, it's not really common. I remember as a kid going through the trees and climbing. I remember like a really nice memory. And now making this was even like being a child climbing through the tree, and the experience is the same. It's you are there at a rooftop with a tree that grows from down you. It's really amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting having to interact with the tree up in the branches and leaves rather than just on the trunk, right? So
Yeah.
And it's really good that you just allow the client to use the whole roof from this project and the last project. Like you designed it in 2 different levels, and you can use all of it.
Well, actually, that's a process, you know, because making a lot of houses here, we always make green roofs because of isolation and everything. And we used to put some part of the roof to the air conditioner equipments and all these different type of installation devices. And suddenly we understood that the ceiling, that the roof wasn't a service area, that was it was a garden. So suddenly we start making like a change on the how we design the installations of the houses, and trying to understand, hey, our roof, it's our garden. And so the services need to go somewhere else, because we cannot negotiate that the roof is a garden. And if you're on this rooftop with the tree and all these amazing things, and suddenly you have like a air conditioner installation, it's contradictory. And also talking about the information, you know, here, for example, talking about this idea of keeping all the domestic things and parts of the house away. Here you have like the wall is the main door is here. It's on a curvy wall, so you don't understand where is the wall. It's a part of the door. It's a part of the wall because you don't have much information. You know, it's a facade all clean. You have a roof here, a ceiling to get this entrance, and that's it. Well, this is before putting all the furniture. You know, here the sun going in. I think this was autumn, I think. So this oak tree in winter, well, in autumn, all the leaves go down, and you get all this sunlight inside when you need it. And on the summer, that is really warm, as I told you before, it's all covered with a tree. So actually, it's like really high-tech building, but from nature. If you go in summer, you won't have this sunlight getting inside like this, because you will have all the leaves on the shadow.
is it the structure? I don't see any column, so is it in the walls itself are structural, right?
Yeah, actually, with the same idea of trying to keep all the information hide all the structure, we try not to show it too much. I'm always at the university with my students. I'm teacher at the almost the last year of the career, and all my students came with the idea of showing the structure, and if with this idea of like a pilote, it's a really amazing thing. And I don't know how, but they came with this mindset like you need to show the structure, and a brick is so beautiful, and a pilote is so beautiful, and the beam, oh, if you make a cantilever beam, you are a god. And when I ask them why, they don't know why, because they somehow understood that a pilote, because the Corbusier all was wood, it was wood. And somehow I try to discuss with my students because about the structure and this idea of showing so much the structure, because here you are seeing the structure because you have the slab, is concrete exposed, so you are mostly watching here the structure. Here is the beam, but the slab of concrete, and it's exposed, but suddenly the beam is inverted, so you don't actually see it as a beam. Let me show you. Well, here in this curvy wall, you have some columns, and for example, this stair is hanging from the roof, and these like ropes that are hanging the stair. They're like a rail. So you are not showing the structure as a structure itself, because we want to keep away the information of the architecture.
For this project and the previous one, what can you say are the challenges in coming up with this type of design, especially during construction?
Um, Trying to make things different in every situation is really difficult. Try um, to understand, to make understand the client that is this is the best way they can make it isn't easy, and trying to make the constructor understand that it's really possible and it's not so messy, it's difficult. Everything is a little bit difficult, but trying to talk with the people. Once you make it, they are like, it wasn't so hard once it's done. Or, it wasn't so crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. And somehow in the design process, everything that you design that is different sounds it was really, really different. Once you start building, it was a little bit different, but it wasn't so hard, or it wasn't so difficult, because actually we are working with the wood, with cement, with the glasses. Here at the office, we need to work a lot, trying to make a lot of details of things, trying to make the engineer understand the house, because sometimes our engineer asks us, but this is a wall, it's a beam, it's a slab, what is this? And suddenly it's all at the same time. So we need to explain a lot and try to make the engineer understand how it works and how structure should work. So I think that the challenge is to get this stuff done. Actually, not to design it, but to make it done. Nowadays with all the AI, you see a lot of things like really amazing and crazy, and
Right.
suddenly everything is amazing and crazy. And I think the challenge is not to think it, but to build it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I think we we build it as like really simple, in a simple way. It's not high tech. It's really low cost and really simple, even though it's not normal or is not similar to all the things you see every day. So that's the challenge, to build these things.
And I hope like more people go to this path of like seeing the actual potential of the like land, the place. Now when you go to the rural areas, they all doing the things that they are doing in the city. Like it's no different. They just build the houses and don't care about anything else. But when you can see
Yeah.
this simple potential on your like project and use it, it's when it's gonna be very valuable, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really worried because when I open a magazine of architecture and design, when I see the stuff that the magazines are discussing, I think it's not about architecture because they are discussing about a marble. It should be like this or that marble from Italy or whatever, and they discuss sometimes it's not about the design itself. They are not talking about spaces and the vinculation between the in or the outside or the tree and the experience of the tree and the emotions of the space. Nowadays, I think the discussions are more like with commercial building technologies or architectural technologies. And I think it should be really good to hear more discussions about what you were saying about the motions and space and all these experiences on the living spaces.
And the true design isn't about the budget, actually. You can design
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
very simple material and have a
Yeah,
great
for sure.
project with amazing design.
Yeah. We didn't talk too much about the materials, but it's as you can see, we worked a lot with the exposed here in these projects. We worked a lot with the exposed concrete that you don't need to paint it. It's like wine. When it gets older, it gets better, and without money.
And it's
The
timeless.
wood is not. Yeah, it's timeless. Exactly. The wood here is actually wood. Clients, I always hear clients that they want to put like something similar to wood instead of putting wood. And it's not about the budget because they have like, no, the wood is going to get like really bad with the time. No, you need to select the type of wood you need for this or that place. So I think it's more like trying to ask more questions to ourselves architects of what we are doing and what are the materials we are going to use and what are the spaces we are going to shape than listening the ideas of some magazine or some client or some people that they are not asking. So I think we need to ask a lot more than we are used to.
Matias, since you
Okay.
mentioned you're teaching at the university, we have this question at the end of our meetings, and that's what's your advice to the younger generation of designers that want to start their career now?
I should tell them to have fun. You know, here in Buenos Aires, I have the theory and I have the thought that our generation of our fathers didn't have too much fun. The house was for living, and that was it. I understand because of the conditions of the Second World War and whatever. Nowadays, I think we can connect more with having fun, living, and having fun designing. Because we can, and that's it. So I'm really upset with when students come to me with some ideas from 100 years ago, and I like, why are you talking about this? Now the discussion is other. This was made recently here in Buenos Aires. They done a new museum, that is exactly the same as one that Mies van der Rohe done in Berlin, no? The new museum. And it's the same. Yeah, it's really nice. I like it, but it's the same museum we've done like a society, even when computers didn't exist, when we didn't have AI, we didn't have a Rhino, Grasshopper, and anything. Why are we making the same? Nothing changed on society. So I think my advice should be like connect with what is going and happening now and have fun. Go through the AI, have fun, try to explore and expand because now it's all going really fast and it's a really good time to have fun.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, ask more questions from yourself, like why are we doing this the way that we are doing?
Sure, yeah, for sure.
It was really great talking to you, Matias. We had such a great time. Thank you for being with us today, and you have such an amazing
Me too.
project. Wish you the
Thank
best
you.
of luck.
Well,
It was a very insightful discussion. We really enjoyed it.